So last week Thursday, we celebrated our 200th episode, and we took a break from celebrating our mothers to have our champion T20 cricketers here with us. We've swung back into business, and we're celebrating mothers, leading up to Mother's Day here on A Cup of Joe, and I have one of the beautiful mothers here in TNT. She was so beautiful that at the age of 23, she ran away with the Miss World title. By now, you know I'm speaking of Giselle Laronde-West is here with me. Queen herself. The Queen of Angostura. Have you been called that?
No.
No?
I wouldn't say I've been called the Queen of Angostura. I've been called many things at Angostura, but not Queen.
Not the Queen. That's why you're keeping busy these days at Angostura.
Definitely. And loving it.
Loving it.
Loving it.
You've after your Miss World reign, which we'll talk about, you went on to study communications.
Yes, I did communications and sociology. Yes.
Right, and then you passed through the corporate world and Hilton and now at Angostura.
Yes.
Tell me about that journey after the Miss World.
Well,
settling back down.
It was interesting. It was interesting settling back down because it's almost like, okay, you lived a life like Lady Di and all of a sudden the crown is gone and you're back to reality.
Yeah.
So coming back the first year was like, whew, oh my goodness, I have to get back into normal life again, Giselle.
Yeah.
Right?
And it was literally like that.
It was literally like that, yes. In fact, when I handed the crown the night, the next morning I had to find my own taxi and get back to Trinidad. Yes. It was that real. It was that real. But it's been good. It's been good. I came back home and I actually spent a few months in London, working with Hilton International.
Right.
And then when I came back home, I stayed with Hilton and continued my career there. And then eventually got married, had 2 children, and I've been working at Angostura for 15 years now.
15 years already?
15 years already,
wow,
yes. Time really flies.
Yeah, 15
years. When I think my son is 21,
You have 21 and 16 years old?
Correct,
21 and 16. And it's Kyle?
Kai? Yes,
Kai.
K-Y-E.
Right.
And Christoph.
Yeah. So 2 big boys.
Big boys. Big boys. And wonderful boys. I couldn't ask for anything better. God has blessed me with 2 good boys.
Enjoying motherhood?
I am. Very, very much. It's been challenging, of course, as with 2 boys, especially when they were younger, running mad all over the place, and of course I'm screaming after them, the usual. But it's been so rewarding. I mean, seeing them grow and seeing them achieve, and they're 2 splendid boys.
Take me back, Giselle, because at the age of 23 and leading up to, I suppose, in your early 20s, pageantry was part of what you did?
No.
So how at the age of 23, I mean, for the younger viewers among us, how at the age of 23? Yes, I have to take
you way back.
Right? Not all that way back, 1986.
Actually this year I'm celebrating 30 years.
30 years. 30 years. So take me back that leading up to in your early 20s, how did you arrive at becoming Miss World?
Well, I knew Brenda Joy Fahey. That name, some people may know, me not. And she insisted that I go up for Miss TNT.
Serious? So you weren't in the pageantry?
I wasn't in the pageantry, no. It was the furthest thing from my mind. I was always a tomboy, so I was into sports and...
which we'll talk about in a while.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So anyway, so she insisted, Giselle, I think you have a good thing going. You're 23 already. Let's do it. I kept pushing her off because I was working at TechU Credit Union to try and raise... accumulate money to go to UE, because at the time you had to pay to go to UE. So I said, no, I'm doing this, and I'm really not interested. I'm too skinny, I'm too this, I'm too that, and she insisted. And then her brothers insisted, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I spoke to my parents, and then they said, well, Giselle, you have nothing to lose. You're not really doing anything too exciting right now other than going to work and coming home. So I said, okay, no problem. They organized a swimsuit, they organized a dress for me to wear and whatever, and they drove me to it was the last day actually of the elections for the final cut. And I got in and I'm like, okay, fine. And of course, when you go in, you say, okay, you're committed to something. Well, that's how I think anyway. If you go into something, you're committed. And that was it. And the rest is history. You went all the way. I went all the way. Yeah. Were you surprised? I mean, because you said you had some tomboy instincts. Well, the thing is, I wasn't surprised at my doing well locally, because, like I said, if I'm going into something, I put my all into it. So when they were teaching how to do this and teaching how to do that, of course, I was trying my best at everything. So I knew I was doing well. I didn't know whether I'd win or not, but I did.
Yeah.
And then going internationally, it was a case of, I'm going to represent Trinidad and Tobago. I'm going to a country I've never visited before. I had hardly traveled before that.
Right.
So it was, wow, this is going to be so exciting. I was really, really excited.
Yeah.
And my modus operandi at that time was just to go and enjoy yourself and represent the country as best as I could. And that's what I went and I did. And I was fortunate, you know. Fate, I think it was fate.
What was the rain like? I mean, that to me, for the young woman here in TNT that would have gone through it, I mean, it just seemed like a wonderful time when.
And it is.
Yeah.
It is an awesome time. I mean, I literally lived like Lady Di for a year.
Yeah.
You know, I was wined and dined, and if I traveled, I lived in a penthouse, and I had security, and I had chaperones, and you know, I didn't have to think of what I had to have for breakfast, and it was just an amazing year.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, having said that, on the other hand, I mean, you get up early in the morning, my day would have started like 4:30 or so.
Yeah.
You have to put on your makeup and find out what you're wearing and get on an early flight, and so there were long hours.
Yeah.
But as with everything, when you get pleasure out of something, there must be some sort of heartache. All right? You must go through some sort of challenges to get to, you know, to the ultimate.
Yeah.
And the ultimate for me was actually seeing where the money that I raised went. So I wasn't just doing this fashion show, making this appearance, traveling here, traveling there for nothing. I actually saw and was part of the donation of the money that we made to the organization.
Which was the organization back then? What?
Well, it was Miss World.
Right.
It was a Miss World organization, but what we did was we raised funds. And that is, Miss World is all about beauty with a purpose. Okay. And the purpose is raising funds to help underprivileged children and unhealthy children. Right. So I would go to, for instance, El Salvador, and we would go and give the money to the hospital at that time. And we also visited a children's home. I mean, I went to a children's home in El Salvador in the, what they call it, the digs, you know, and they had just suffered the earthquake, I think it was at the time. And seeing hundreds of children homeless, you know, without even a mother. And I used to get emotional in the early stages, maybe I still am. But when I was leaving, I had spoken to like 500 children, and they're the people who were looking after them in the home. And I learned a little Spanish, so I was speaking to them in Spanish. And as I was leaving, I had two children grabbing onto my skirt, and they would not let me go. Oh my God, Joe, that was the most amazing experience ever, and heart-wrenching. And they just kept calling me, Mama, Mama, Mama. So I'm like, I'm not your mother. No. I'm just 23. You know, but it was so traumatic. You know, and I had to get into the car, go to my apartment, and I bawl my eyes out. I bawl. Wow, and then you have to get on a plane and leave these children. So those, I mean, elements of the year were hard.
But unforgettable experiences.
But unforgettable experiences. I'd not trade it for the world.
You have time to go into the kitchen?
I always have time to go in the kitchen.
At home? I'm talking at home.
No. No, if I say that, I'll be lying.
So I'm cooking for you today.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah, you'll help me a bit. You'll help me.
I will help you. I'm not helpless in the kitchen, I must admit. I just don't like the kitchen, but if I'm in the kitchen, I will do so.
Yeah, in the kitchen. Because you indicated, and I was surprised that you indicated it that early in the conversation, that you had some tomboy instincts.
Yes.
Because Giselle played badminton, hockey, netball, volleyball. She was into swimming. I'm running out of fingers. Athletics. While in college, she played squash and lawn tennis. And she's a karate champion.
I had to throw that in.
You had to throw that in. We're going into the kitchen next. We'll talk about all these sporting disciplines, where she found the time to do all of them. I've never seen anyone with a list this long in sporting disciplines, playing all different types of sports. You're a superwoman. No. We're coming right back. We're rolling out a recipe next with Giselle Laronde-West, 1986 Queen, Miss World here in Sweet TNT. And we're celebrating mothers as we build up to Mother's Day here on A Cup of Joe. Giselle Laronde-West will join me in the kitchen right after this.